up, everybody? It is Thursday, October 22nd. So, a couple of things. First of all, some of you may recall that over the last few months, I've been talking about the weekly AAII Sentiment Survey. That is the American Association of Individual Investors. And I kept telling you, look, bullish sentiment was really low. It was sustained low every single week, and bearish sentiment was sustained high every single week, in spite of the fact that the market bounced off the that deep crash, and it came up and we ended up making new highs. But even with the market's recovery, it was very interesting because the AAII Sentiment Survey, those are a survey of individual investors, it just stayed bearish. It just stayed negative, like it was rife with pessimism. And now what's happening is we're finally starting to see a change. I don't know if it's kind of like people are getting more optimistic about the election, maybe a change in administration. Look, I'm not making any judgment calls on that. I'm just saying I'm seeing in the survey a shift towards more bulls and less bears. And I'll tell you something else. I also track the bull minus bear spread. In other words, you take the bullish consensus, you subtract the bearish consensus, and I follow that. That's also a very good indicator. That thing was negative for 35 weeks. I went all the way back in the data, like way back, and I could not find a period of negativity in that bull-bear spread that long, 35 weeks. But in this week, in the latest week, it has finally popped up to a positive reading. That is the first time in 35 weeks that we have a positive reading. It wasn't like an extreme positive reading, but it was a positive reading for the first time in 35 weeks. So what we're seeing in that survey is that individual investors are starting to shift more bullish. Now, what does this mean? Obviously, I like to play the market from a contrarian point of view. Of course, I always look at the fiscal flows, number one. Those are going to be, for me, the primary thing. But you also have to look at market sentiment. And that's why all throughout this whole rally, even on the days and sometimes multiple days when we had sell-offs, I said, you got to go in and buy it. You got to go in and buy it. Eventually, we're going to see this thing flip around, and it's starting to move in that direction. And we're going to see the opposite of what we have seen over the last 34, 35 weeks, and that is you're going to see bullish sentiment on the part of individual investors shoot up, just like it did in January. It was very high, and back then, if you go back and watch my videos, I was saying, look. And we didn't know anything about the coronavirus at that time, but I was saying, look, I saw a slowdown in the fiscal flows. I was bearish. I was saying, you got to be cautious here. All of Wall Street was saying, oh, you got to buy stocks and it's never going to go down. I was telling you the opposite, and that ended up to be, the correct positioning. So I'm tracking this, and I'm just letting you know that bullish sentiment is starting to perk back up. And bearish sentiment is coming down. We got the first reading in 35 weeks positive on the bull-bear spread in that AAII survey. So a shift is in the winds. Anyway, fiscal flow is very strong. Spending now up 72 billion over same time last year. Last year was a record, of course. We're already up 72 billion over that. The tax flows are positive with the exception of employment and withholding tax flows. By the way, on that note, we saw in today's weekly unemployment claims, they dropped down below 800,000. I think the number was 787 or something in that. And so they're coming down, which is a good sign. TSA, Transportation Safety Administration, traveler throughput, over 1 million travelers a day. October is up now about 13-14% over September. We're well up above the lows in traveler throughput that we saw like in April and May and stuff like that. So, you know, things are coming back. Tonight is the debate. That ought to be fun. It's also football. Giants against the Eagles. I got the Giants, even though they're terrible this year. What else? That's about it. Everybody, don't forget, listen to my podcast. There is no debt. Everything's been paid for in dollars, all right? Everything. The podcast, you can get the link right here, just on the description below. Just click on it. It'll take you right there. All right, and don't forget, go to my website, sign up for a 30-day free trial of my report, MMT Trader. I am the only one who has an applied approach to MMT. Nobody else does that. Got a lot of academics out there. They're writing papers. You know, they're giving speeches. My background is a trader. I've been a member and a floor trader on 4 exchanges. I managed money for a large hedge fund and a major international bank. I got the trading background. I got the economics background. I take the MMT concepts and I apply them towards investing. Nobody else does that. And don't forget mental game and personal coaching. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.